out, and you're having a couple out, you're going to go meet them out, and you know this guy has a past problem with alcoholism. The waiter comes out to you, hey, can I get you a glass of wine, beer, You know what? I had the freedom to do so, and I could. But for the sake of this guy right here, I know his past, or this woman, I'm gonna say, you know what, I'll just take some water tonight. Water, throw a little lemon on there, Do that. Again, at the end of the day, though, I would challenge you. Take the leading of your pastor. Rebel against culture. Culture says, yeah, let's have drinks and let's do this and that. Let's buck the system, man. Let's stay healthy instead. Too many problems in America. Again, that's my view, but that's just a simple snippet. Is it okay for a Christian to drink? You do your own personal inventory. What's okay for me might not be okay for you, and vice versa. Me as a pastor, I have a whole different level of responsibility. If we have, at the end of our Bible study and say I wanted to go to a sports bar and have a burger and a beer, I don't have a problem with it. No problem for me, but you know what? You're going to be there, you'll be like, hey, Pastor Todd, how's it going? And then, dude, I saw Pastor Todd, he had like 8 beers, the homie was hammered. Oh, dude, I had one. See, I'm not even going to go there. Okay, enough of that. Now, the summation, though, of this first section, 1 through 12, is Jesus a party pooper? No, he's an abundant life giver. John 10:10, I've told you at the beginning to turn there. I just want you to go to John 10:10, because we summarize this whole first section with that verse. John 10:10, I want you to underline it, put it on your refrigerator, put it on your mirror, put it in your car, and understand God's heart. John 10:10, the enemy or the thief came to steal, kill, and to destroy. But I came to give life, and life more abundantly. In some translations, and life to the full. Do you hear that heartbeat? He's not a party pooper. He is pure. He is holy. I think sometimes we connect holiness with lamelessness. Lame. Okay, read my Bible here. Listen, God's holy. Don't ever get me wrong. I got some Under Armour shirt on. Well, he's not real holy. He doesn't have the 3-piece suit. Look, God says he looks at the heart. But don't make no mistake. I fear God, and I believe he is a holy, perfect God. But God, Jesus likes to have a good time. He's at this party. He's up in the set. Please, please, please. Jesus is an abundant life giver. Now, number 2. Let's go to number 2 in the myth department. Jesus is a pushover. Certainly that was one of the things that set me away from God. Jesus, he's just this little wimpy guy. I don't want to have anything to do with that. After I surrendered my life to Jesus Christ in 1997, soon thereafter, I got signed by the New England Patriots. They were going to send me to NFL Europe. And my roommate at that time was an on-fire Christian man. So now again, I'm working with this myth. I still have this myth after I come to Christ. Jesus is this pushover, and now I'm going to become a Christian, so I'm going to be kind of limp-wristed and kind of tiptoe around and do this kind of deal. I'm rooming with this guy. He is a very powerful, godly man, competitor. And now I'm making the transition from quarterback to receiver. So we're working out. We're roommates over there. And I'll never forget, probably the second game of the season. We're at home in Amsterdam. And it's third down. I go across kind of like on a little hook route. And I just flat dropped the ball. It was a big third down. And this quarterback comes up to me on the sideline and says, "Get your head in the game!" He's like in my face. I said, "Oh boy, what's going on here? I thought you were a Christian, man. What's going on here? You can't be doing that." It's funny. This guy was, we were watching SportsCenter, my wife and I, and they were interviewing, this guy's Kurt Warner, who's going to be playing for the Cardinals, and some of you guys know that, but they were interviewing Larry Fitzgerald and what's the other guy, Jeremy Urban. Yeah, and they were asking, Jeremy Urban goes, yeah, Kurt's a very sound Christian man, but that dude will get in your face. Dude's a competitor. He's a man's man. And boy, I started to see, okay, you can be a Jesus freak. You can live a holy, pure life. That doesn't mean you have to check your man card at the door. You can live a powerful, God, just excited life and still be a believer. Let's see now Jesus, this pushover. Let's see how he acts in verse 13. Okay? Verse 13, John chapter 2. Let's get back there. John 2, verse 13. Now, the Passover of the Jews was at hand. And Jesus went up to Jerusalem. And he found in the temple those who sold oxen and sheep and doves and the money changers doing business. Pause right there. Number 1, verse 13, it was the Passover of the Jews. The Passover, again, the celebration in the book of Exodus. Moses is leading the people out of bondage in Egypt, and miraculously God takes them out. And the night before they come out, remember we talked about it, the firstborn is going to be killed in all Egypt, and now they put the blood of the lamb on the lentils, on the doorpost, and because they have that, that angel passed over the house. They're celebrating this fact, and it was continuing, and to this day it's continually one of the main celebrations of the Jewish people. And they're celebrating that, and people were going up to Jerusalem. If you look in the Bible, we think if I'm going up to New York, because I think north-south, in the Bible it's more topographical. So they're going up to Jerusalem because it was higher topographical. They're going up to Jerusalem. Josephus, the Jewish historian, suggests there was about 2.5 million people that would meet up in Jerusalem at that time. So you had all these different Jews from surrounding little towns, and they'd all come together to celebrate what God had done and remember the Passover and the miraculous things that God had done. Now, Jesus said, what does Jesus do? He joins the party. He goes right up in the festivities. And now he walks into the temple in verse 14, and he sees these guys selling oxen and sheep and doves. Now you say, well, what's the problem with that? Here's what was going on. For these Jews to come celebrate and connect with God, we've talked about this, they had to bring an animal to sacrifice. God's holy, they're not. There had to be the blood shed to connect with God. So they would bring an animal of their own. Well, they'd come, and some of these guys would be like, there's a flaw in your animal. They'd find whatever. You need to buy one for me. And they would set the price, sometimes as much as 20 times higher, to take advantage of the fact they had to connect with God. Jesus looks at this, it's kind of like when you go to a movie theater, and you want to get some popcorn. Some of you guys, I know what you do. You grab those little mini popcorns, you put them in your purse, you kind of do one of those numbers. I know you guys. Probably smart, but that's the same thing. Pro baseball games, on and on, amusement parks, they jack the price and they take advantage of you. Same thing that these religious leaders, church leaders, pastors, if you will, were doing to these people. Jesus isn't too hip on that. What does he do? Takes a whip of cords. He sees these money changers doing business. The other thing is, what was going on is these Jews would come from outside areas, and in their areas they'd have their own money system. So when they came to Jerusalem there, they would have to exchange their money. It's kind of like when you go on a vacation to a foreign country and you get off on the airport, and what first thing they do is they have like a money exchange. Don't ever get your money exchanged there, by the way. Go do it somewhere else, because same thing. They take advantage of you. It's the same exact thing. So all these things were going on in here. And Jesus, seeing this, says, taking advantage of my Father's house, using it as a way to make money. I'm not down with that. Watch what happens in verse 15. When he made a whip of cords, he drove them all out of the temple with the sheep and the oxen, and poured the money changers, the changers' money, and overturned the tables. Wait, I thought Jesus was this pushover. He was going to set up some peace talks, and let's see how we can deal with this diplomatically. And Jesus said, no.